Hello, my name is Alejandra Gomez, and today we're going to be taking a look at the National Gallery of Art website. But before we do that, I wanted to show you a photograph of the exterior of the museum so that you could get a feeling for the type of government monumental design of the museum. Let's go over a few details. The museum was built in 1937. The architects for the museum were I.M. Pye and John Russell Pope. It does have a neoclassical wing and a modern east wing, and two features of the museum include a sculpture garden and an atrium. The atrium, I believe, has the nation's largest collection of Calder mobiles and sculptures. I wanted to also show a photograph of the East Wing designed by I.M. Pye, just because I think it's a very exceptional work of architecture, and I was very impressed with the design. Here we have a photograph of the atrium, which shows some large Calder mobile sculptures. Now let's take a look at the actual website. I'd like to point out that here in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see that admission to the National Gallery is always free. I know in our class there was some discussion about whether or not museums should be charging or if they should have discounted prices. Of Art website, you will see a very nice layout with several tabs of information, and the image on the front is from their current special exhibit, The Life of Animals in Japanese Art. I'd like to point out over here above the National Gallery of Art insignia is a notice mentioning that admission is always free at the National Gallery of Art. I know it's come up in some of our discussions about whether or not museums, survey museums, should charge admission, but we all would certainly like to know or be glad that the National Gallery of Art is free. Another thing that we notice on the first page of the National Gallery of Art website is, besides the tabs, is that it includes a very lovely image of their special exhibition, The Life of Animals in Japanese Art. We click on the image, it takes us to a summary of the exhibition and shows some of the artists and one of the exhibits for the exhibition. When we look at the website, we see that it has several tabs up at the top: Visit, Collection, Exhibitions, Education, Conservation, Research, Calendar, Support, and Shop. When we go to search, you can begin typing in an artist's name into the search engine, and it will anticipate which artist you are looking up and give you some choices. And then you can, after you have your artist selected, you can click search, and it will give you images of whatever is in the collection for that artist. One interesting feature of the website is the collection of highlights. So from the main page, if we go to collection and then highlights, it takes us to only 42 artworks that are, I suppose, considered the most notable artworks in the museum's collection. There is the Annunciation by Jan van Eyck, 1434. We can scroll down and see there is a Raphael painting and a Leonardo da Vinci. If we continue scrolling down, we see a Albrecht Dürer print from 1514, and there is a Rubens and an El Greco, couple Rubens, and down at the bottom, a Johannes Vermeer painting from 1664, and a William Blake illustration from 1805. We can continue to the next page and see a few more artworks. Let me scroll down for you. Here there's an Edgar Degas bronze sculpture, Little Dancer, aged 14, from 1878. And there is a Vincent van Gogh self-portrait from 1889 right here. And Claude Monet's The Japanese Footbridge from 1899. There's a Cezanne, a Picasso, Alexander Calder sculpture from 1943, a Jackson Pollock from 1950. So some very nice pieces in their permanent collection. If we go on to education and then the first choice teachers, we can see there are some excellent resources offered for teachers on this page. You can download high-res art images and image sets for your classroom. There is a lesson plan database to search for art lessons and activities. There's information about school tours and programs, online courses, and professional development. Let's click on the Lessons tab and see an example of a possible lesson for grades 3 through 5. These are artworks that are in the museum's collection, such as this Van Gogh self-portrait. And we can see that there is a lesson available and developed using this artwork for teachers to download and use in their classroom. Back on the main screen of the National Gallery, we can continue in education and scroll down to learning resources. And it'll bring us to this page where teachers can browse teaching resources, videos for students, lessons and activities, and the National Gallery of Art Kids Interactives. Let's go ahead and click on the Kids Interactives. This has content appropriate for elementary level students, and students can come directly here on their own, click on one of the apps. Let's go to Still Life, and it has content available for download for students to be able to use. This one, Still Life, is no longer available. One resource on the National Gallery website that I found particularly useful for elementary art teachers is if we go to Education and scroll down to NGA, National Gallery Art Kids, and click on that tab, it takes us to a page of interactive apps, art apps for students. And these are great for all ages, but are definitely user-friendly for elementary. One thing that I did notice about these apps is that the online versions are no longer available, so you do have to download the app onto your computer or your iPad, whatever you're using at your school. But once you do that, students can access the app easily and use it for different art making purposes, whether it's something like this Brushster interactive, a digital art app, or one of the more artist specific apps that are available for download. For those of you who are high school teachers, you may be interested in going to Education, scrolling down to Teens, and that will take you to this page, which includes some resources for older students. There are volunteer opportunities with the museum for grades 11 through 12. There are films for children and teens, and there is a program called Museum Makers for grades 11 through 12. It's something of a fine art seminar course for high school students that meets from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for 7 Saturdays, and helps students to learn about what it takes to function, for the museum to function in a sort of behind-the-scenes setting. This would be, if I were in the area and still teaching high school, I would definitely be interested in placing some students into this program. From the main page, we can click on exhibitions, and go down to current exhibits, and it will include some of the current exhibits at the museum: The Life of Animals in Japanese Art, Oliver Lee Jackson Recent Paintings, The American Pre-Raphaelites Radical Realists, Venetian Prints in the Time of Tintoretto, Artists of Renaissance Venice, Drawing in Tintoretto's Venice, and in the library, Frederick Douglass Family Materials from the Walter O. Evans collection. I would like to show everyone how to navigate to some free downloadable posters for teachers. If we, from the main page, we go to Education and then click on Teachers and scroll down to Art in the Classroom posters, we can click on by following this link, and then we can scroll down and see that there are several posters from the museum's collection available for download, and the quality is very good. As we can see here, I'm all about free printables for my classroom, so this is something that I would definitely utilize.